Welcome back to episode 2 of our playthrough of update 4 of Satisfactory, with a whole bunch of stuff like drones we're headed for in this particular update. But in the meantime, I've been cleaning up the dirt down here. We no longer have that horrible sort of skew factory all over the place, all over the dirt. The only thing we've got left down here now is just the mines. The mines go onto conveyor belts. These initial starting points are impure. They only produce 30 per minute, but I've got 2 of them, so I combine 2 of these belts and 1 here, and that will be basically a fully compressed belt, if you want to think of it that way, for Factorio terms. And it's going to head up there with conveyor lifts. Okay, same thing with the concrete over there, or rather the limestone, and same thing with the copper over there, going upstairs. So we're going to be heading upstairs and show you what I'm going to be doing up there. Basically moved everything upstairs apart from 4 of the biomass burners, and this one little thing that's just producing, or rather it's consuming biomass that I create, and it's just turning it into the solid biofuel that we can use down here and get everything going there. Let me just dump back in there because I don't need it just yet. So up we go. I did purchase the stairs from the coupon shop. That is the only thing I purchased, and it was like 2 coupons, so I processed a little bit of stuff to get that going. And yes, this is sending me as dizzy as it may be doing with you. So the sooner I get hypertubes and or jump pads, the better. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you upstairs so that you get an idea of what I've been doing. So along here, I've got a whole series of storage containers with various raw material, well, just processed materials. In here, we've got iron plates, we've got the rods, we've got screws, we have concrete. It's not here yet, but it should be arriving. Yeah, there it is. I've had the power off while I've been away scavenging leaves. And in here, we've got basically wire, and that's coming in as well. So there's our copper plant. Pretty much the same as I had initially downstairs, just the very, very trivial setups, nothing too balanced. A little bit more than it was, but just not as much. So to give you an idea, we've got 1 full belt coming in here, the same for copper over there, so I'll show you with iron. 1 full belt going in, split into 2, and that's going into 2 smelters. Each of them can take 30 per minute, so that's processing everything that the belt can provide. And they're going to get combined, put into this buffer box, which has just got iron ingots in there. Then split outwards, split in half again. So obviously 1 half going one way, 1 half going the other. 1 half is just going through here and producing plates. The other half is going into basically rods. And then some of those rods are being converted over again into screws. And then some very similar kind of things otherwise in the copper. The only thing I'm producing right now is copper wire. I'm not producing copper plates yet, but that's something that I will probably be needing to do fairly soon. Do I have enough? I do have enough to fill in this foundation. There we go. And then our limestone is coming up there and being basically turned into concrete, which is coming along quite nicely from down there. So I think that's pretty much everything up to date. I'm just going to be filling in more concrete up here as well, more foundations up here as and when I can. And then we're going to be heading on to unlocking some of the tier 3 and tier 4 stuff that we just started up at the end of last episode. I didn't decide to go for the jump packs. I decided instead, if you can see at the top right of the screen, you can see me got coal power. I need basically to unlock. Ouch! Whoa! I need to unlock coal power. I'm sick of going scavenging plants. So to do that, we're going to need a few more of the reinforced iron plate. And for that, I'm going to need basically screws. But I've got all of it upstairs, and I've got a crafting bench upstairs, so there's nothing too much needing me to be down here, apart from just this chest. So I'm going to move that upstairs, and I'll come back in a second. Moved everything upstairs. It's now full nighttime. Apologies if it's a little bit dark. I have turned up the gamma, so hopefully it's all easy for you to see. And I've just got the plates here I can just dump in. There we go, and the big red button as usual, and off it goes. So we should now have coal power, or more importantly, we should be able to scan for coal, which is the important point. And there we go. How far is it away from us? Please be close, please be close, please be close. Oh, that's not good. There's no pings yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, so 1 kilometer away over there. fine. I'm going to have to go exploring, it seems, but that's perfectly fine too, I guess. Yeah, and we'll see what we need to get. Basically, coal generators, I should have a few things I need. One is I need water for them, so I'm going to need to create more iron plate, you can see down here, and I'm going to need that copper plate, basically, copper sheet and iron plate. I'm also going to need the generators themselves, so in here, the coal generators. That again is more reinforced iron plates, more rotors, bits and pieces. That should be good. However, once it's set up, then I don't need to go and forage anymore. And then I'm also going to need the actual pipelines. Yes, the pipes, basically. So you can see here, that's lots of copper sheeting. And that means I'm going to need to create that. And the pipeline pumps, which basically, if you need to pump water uphill, you need to use pumps, of course. Otherwise, the water won't go uphill. One of those things, and a fluid buffer if you want that sort of thing. So I did that in the last season, but I will show you briefly once I've got some exploration done and when I've found where the coal is. We can ship the coal all the way back here, or we can produce the power out there and then, you know, something like that. I've not quite decided just yet where it is. There's another limestone point, it looks like. So yeah, lots of exploration to do. So I went out there, I built a huge amount of foundations out over close to it, and there's a couple of, if you're following along, there's a couple of coal spots down there, normal versions, just beyond that rock right there and sort of behind it near the cliff. So that's going to be going out there. There isn't any deep water apart from here, so I may have to extract the water from here, and because coal generators are huge, I thought, well, probably best to build it out there rather than actually build it over here. It just uses up too much space. So we want a remote power station. So it should be easy enough to ship the water out and down, and then I'm going to have to pump it up onto this kind of floor level, and from there also just bring the coal upwards, just like we've done here. Nothing special about those kind of things. However, in the meantime, I've also set up basically our yes, an assembler here for making reinforced iron plates. Have any come through yet? 15? Okay, it's 5 a minute, and it's just feeding out of all these, and I'm just doing this essentially almost manually. I'm choosing which of these things, which of these ingredients go into our assembly chain for the moment, and just so I'm actually creating stuff for research. You can see at the top right, I need to get to Logistics Mark II, and I'm going to continue just unlocking stuff, and we've got some copper sheet coming in here now. I added the second constructor over there is just producing copper sheet, and it's just dividing equally and then just sending out on 2 different lines. So we've got most of the individual bits and pieces we're going to need for pipes, and then I'm going to need some bits and pieces to unlock more research. So do I have enough for this one now? I didn't pick up any. I didn't pick up any concrete. Let's just see if we had got any in the box. We may have enough. We may not. Yes, we do. We have enough. Let's go and unlock it. And then we can probably even get to Logistics Mark III at some point, but Mark II will just give us faster belts anyway, and also faster lifts, I think, as well. So in there you go, and that's off.
Milestone reached.
Yep. Let's just get rid of you. And next milestone, I'm still not going for jump pads in tier 2 and tier 3. I wouldn't mind vehicles, but that's too slow. So for the moment, I also want some of these other ingredients for other things, so that's fine. Basic steel is one of the things we're going to need to get to pretty soon, because this steel pipe is a prerequisite to actually get some of the other stuff like advanced steel. We need the steel pipe for it down there. That unlocks the miner Mark II, which then lets us get resources a lot faster. And also we need it for hypertubes as well, and also the beams. So yes, plenty of stuff to go. Regardless, that means I need to get the regular steel production going from here, which means I'm going to need modular frames and some more rotors. And one other thing, if you're following along, if you head west towards the cliffs, you'll see where I put a bridge in over that way as well. On top of these cliffs, I'm not sure if you can see it just over there, there is a Keterium Ore Node. So it's on top of these ones, so you can't get up to it from down there without creating some kind of foundation ramp or something. But because I've got everything on the subfloor up here, or at least now before I build the main floor, I can get to it if I need to. And you can get more research opened up with that. It lets you make basically better versions of these power poles, if I remember rightly, and other bits and pieces. I'm not going to bother with it just yet, but just so you know where it is over there. And with the last bit of concrete, we have steel unlocked. So steel production is ready to go. That again is going to, well, let me just get rid of the voiceover. That is really going to sort of stress our sort of supply of ore as far as that's concerned. But we can take a look and see if we can get a little bit of it being produced and go from there. So steel is, let's just see what new machines do we have. If anything, there will be the foundry itself. That's fine. I'm going to need some modular frames and a little bit of concrete. Let me just craft those first. As I was saying, so here's our foundry. I've just put it in a random place for now. Steel ingots if we want that. So it can take iron ore and coal 45 per minute each. Obviously, we're going to need some coal over here in addition to the coal that is going to be for the coal generators. So we either will have two spots, one of which will go for the generator, the other one will go for over here, or something along those kind of lines. So we can't start this up just yet. But we can actually pull the iron ore into it if we actually want to. Here is our iron ore. However, right now it is being perfectly consumed by these two smelters. So if we're going to have more here, what we're probably going to need to do is have another supply of iron coming in from down there somewhere. So I need to basically get another iron spot and bring it across the ground down there and then up, and then we'll decide what to do with it. We're probably going to have to upgrade these conveyor belts up to Mark 2s at least, because this one is currently maxed out with whatever it can produce, and the same thing for the lifts. But for the moment, that's perfectly fine. I don't need the foundry until we have all the coal already, so onward we go. And here we are, first couple of coal generators ready to go. They're up on this sort of subfloor. And I've got the pipe work coming from our river, the deep river near our original base or our earlier base, and it comes all the way over here. There's a few pumps, basically. There's one there, there's one here, and there's one, I'm not sure if there's one halfway up. No, the other one is further along, but place them every so often and you'll basically be able to inspect things, make sure there's enough water in here. The water is going to go up in this case and into one of these cross pieces, then down, and I'll rearrange this a little bit neater a little bit later. No connection yet, so we need to actually have a connection via power pole. Do I have enough? Yeah, I have enough foundation to go around the back. I actually just want to make sure things are nicely routed as far as power poles are concerned. So let's just get those done. We can just put in, say, one power pole here for now. So there's a temporary measure, just connect it to 1 and 2. I'm missing a cable, really. We can fix that, I think. Yep, hopefully. Cable? Yes, plenty of cable. Okay, so while that's crafting, then we're going to just connect this back to the same power grid as everything else, and from there we should be able to get everything done. So you connected there, and then you connected down there somewhere. Okay, that should be how everything connected up. No power, but it doesn't say no connection anymore. Good. So we just need fuel in there, which is just going to be coal. And each of these, I think, is 75 megawatts, is it? 75 megawatts. And I think the biomass burners are 30. So there was 4 of them, so we need 120. So this is going to be 150 because there's 2 of these. And that should be more than enough. And I've got a very, very large amount of stairs over on this section. Yep. Okay, so that's the coal going in. Let's just make sure everything kicks on. And then we can head back over to our main base to actually do more stuff because, hey, that will all work. Hopefully. Fuse broken. Let's wait for it to build up a little bit of fuel and let's try kicking it on. There we go. So we should now have enough to actually keep us going. There's 75 megawatts and we're consuming 85, but that's perfectly fine because we've got 2 of these going. So from here, you would normally then perhaps think about putting some power storage in, new with update 4. However, we don't have them yet. We need to actually get them researched. So I'm off back to the base. I think it's in tier 4, however. So not immediate, but soon. Yep, it is in tier 4, so I'm going to go ahead with this milestone instead and get that in there. This is just for the Xenobasher, the longer version of the melee weapon, and some extra spaces and hand slots, essentially. There we go, we've got a third hand slot to do with as we wish. So I think we should just be able to upgrade this now. We want the Xenobasher. We need a couple of the Xeno Zappers. Okay, well, we've already got one, so we should be able to make a second one. There we go. And then it's just some cable, some wire, and a few modular frames. That should be easy enough for us to grab. And it'll be a much better melee weapon for us to defend everything else with. I do want to get to the runners, though. I don't think we're going to have them just yet. Let's just grab you. And that should be everything we need, along with a bit of crafting. So let's just grab the one out of our inventory, make sure we have that available. Then we can then craft one here with both of our Xeno Zappers. And new melee weapon. Okay, so that can go in our main slot. There we go. Much better. Basically a sword. And we have an extra slot that we can just put our chainsaw in permanently. Or a scanner, etc. Stuff like that. And we have a few more inventory spaces to be getting on with. So tempted to just run around with the chainsaw all the time. Anyway, what's next up? Can we go for our next active milestone? Jump pads we could now do. It's not terribly hard to actually make any of these stuff, so that shouldn't be a problem. Vehicular transport, again, that's actually fairly straightforward to do as well. So really, the non-straightforward stuff should be in here. So we need to make steel. So I need to get coal all the way back over from our, you can see over there on the right hand side, coal all the way over from over there where our coal generators are. Or another coal spot. Now there is another coal spot if you scan. It's over there somewhere, if I remember rightly, but it is another kilometer away. So it's not like it's going to be too easy. Let's see if it pops up eventually on the scanner. It is somewhere to the east anyway. There it is. Yep, kilometer away. It's a kilometer away that way, so, you know, we may as well take the coal from that side of things, given we've already got everything set up over there, and just bring it to the base. Remember, this is going to be the subfloor still, so the main floor is going to be upstairs, and the main floor is where we're going to be getting to pretty soon now. Because what this subfloor is going to be doing is essentially creating sort of a whole... well, how to put this? It's going to have conveyor belts everywhere. It's routing everything between the buildings, which will be up on the main floor. So if we want to send, I don't know, stuff like iron ingots around, we could either make the iron ingots up there, and then which we probably will. We'll take the iron ore upstairs, make the iron ingots, and just bring them back down here. We can put them into storage in the subfloor or wherever we want to, and then route them to other buildings that are going to be doing stuff with iron ingots. For example, we could have one that's making iron plates, just like this, or we could have iron rods, etc. So yeah, should be straightforward. In any case, however, we can make some steel to get started once this actually is connected to power. There we go. Yeah, iron ore's coming in. I created a second belt, so there are now 2 full Mark 1 belts coming in from a different spot that is not an impure spot, it's a normal spot, so we should get a full belt worth. And that's going over the top here and into the smelter. There's going to be more of these. This is going to be a temporary thing to get us going. I have some coal on me, so I could dump that in, and it'll start making a little bit of steel, and that's good to go, or at least for a little bit. We're going to be looking for the next research thing now, so let's take a look at that. Okay, so for advanced steel, to get us to the miner Mark II, we're going to need pretty much everything we can make here is fine, apart from this, the steel pipes. So we're going to be able to make those in our earlier sort of tier of stuff. Now, steel pipes, I'm not sure, I don't think we can actually craft them, handcraft them. Oh yeah, we can if we really wanted to. It just takes steel, and it's a single recipe, so I could basically just put another machine like a constructor on the end of this, and as long as I keep feeding it coal, it will actually start producing us the steel pipe for that. So let's just put you in there for now. Okay, and let's just hook this up. I don't really too much care about balancing and stuff like that. Oh, this is the wrong way around. I don't care too much about balancing the early stage because everything is going to be moved up onto the main floor once we're done. So let's just get this connected. Correct it later, and you can go there. And this is going to be steel pipe. Okay, so that should start being produced and shipped outwards. And steel pipe should start appearing here. Yep, good. And I can put it down to a box or something for now, just like everything else. Yeah, why not? And I'm just going to dump the rest of the steel pipe off there, and we can come back later. So that's steel pipe sorted, that's the next research sorted, and we should be good to go there once we get enough of it, of course. Which means I'm going to have to go and get a bunch of plate and get a very, very long conveyor belt coming from all the way over there, all the way back over here. Once we run the this coal by all of the coal generators, we want the coal generators to take the first load, if you like, and if anything passes that, it can come back here to the base to be made into steel, essentially. And it's a long, long run, but now this belt is taking the overflow from our coal generators over there and taking it all the way back to the base. It goes all the way around the outside, that way, all the way to the back, and then around to where the steel area is going to be, or at least the steel area is at the moment. Everything's going to get rearranged once the next floor goes in anyway, so again, right now you're just building stuff to basically unlock the various research tiers. And welcome to a few hours later after me being doing lots of construction. I'm on the upper level now, which didn't exist before. It's just basically a few blocks up. I'll show you the underfloor level in a minute, but nice views all around. Do quite like the desert zone, but what we've got up here is a new design from last season, an improvement of last season, I think. What I was considering doing was this, the same as last season, having lifts or routing outside, something like that. I decided not to do that, so this is going to go in a minute. I just wanted to show you for demonstration purposes. What I'm instead going to do is have all of the materials come up inside the buildings in the corners. So here we are, you can see all the way from the desert down there comes the iron ores coming up into this corner of the building, and then we're going to have splitters, and each building is 5 by 5. So you can see I've got four smelters running there. And let's take a look at the rest of the buildings. So here I've got a central avenue, which I probably will remove those power poles to the outside of the avenues, to be honest. Still haven't found a really good way of getting power through foundations. There should be one, and I think the advanced foundation that you can buy from the shop is it lets you actually route cables through. But if I put a block through here, it'll work, but then when I walk away, it'll cut that wire, so I don't want that to actually happen. So if anyone knows a really nice way of getting power through foundations, rather than cutting a hole through the floor and then having railings around and various gantries and stuff like that, do let me know in the comments below. Anyway, so yes, next building is just plates, so same process inside every time. This corner, stuff comes up, goes in through the machines, and I'll show you the other side. It's not nothing special, it's just mergers and then back down into the routing level of the factory. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, and that means it's quite easy to run around in here and arrange stuff, given that you've got 5 by 5. I'm also using the roof-based power, which I do like a lot, rather than the old power poles inside buildings, which didn't exist last time. So yeah, and then as you can imagine, I have got another building, one for screws and one for rods, and this is the rods one, I think, if I remember rightly. Yes, it is, because it's feeding iron ingots in. And then the same thing in there for screws. Nothing terribly exciting there, so I'm not going to show you around there. Let me, however, show you the subfloor, or the routing floor. So let's just pop down, and I am going to want you to get some runners eventually, but for the moment this is fine. And here we are. So we've got 3 by 3 pillars, you can see here, and they are supporting a 5 by 5 building. They don't actually need any support, but I do quite like the look of these pillars. And I think below here I'm going to be putting 5 by 5 pillars. So here, for example, going down to the desert floor. If you want to see that, I think I've got at least one of them running. Let's have a look. Yeah, do. So you can have a look over there. I've got those Not sure whether to actually keep them 3x3 or 5x5 yet. I was having a look, but they do blend quite well with the desert floor, and our original platform is completely gone now. So this is all how everything will seem once everything's done. Do quite like the idea of a vast underground, so inverted quote marks, space like that. So yeah, let me know what you think. Anyway, 3x3, so you can see all 4 buildings are up, and I have still replaced the boxes so I can go and grab manual stuff when I want to. They're a bit misaligned at the moment because these are the original places for the copper. I haven't touched the copper whatsoever. But the iron have all been basically redone, so we should have a box of rods here, yeah, screws coming through this side, and they're going off, as they did before, into reinforced iron plate. And reinforced iron plate is going to be this shortage because it takes an awful lot of stuff, and it's very slow to actually route this stuff along here, that screws, for example, because it's level 1 or tier 1 belt. So what we're going to want to do is upgrade that belt, and also upgrade going backwards into the factories until I can get, well, at least for my current amount of iron, things fairly balanced. I think it's mostly done now. I just have to finally get the, well, what are you? You've got 500.5. That's a tier 1 conveyor lift, but I think, no, I am going to need to upgrade it. Okay, easy enough to do with these. If you haven't upgraded them in place, you should just be able to click. Everything gets replaced and everything's good. If you don't know about it, by the way, there's a quick build option now by holding E. I may have mentioned it in the last episode, but now you can just select which type of conveyor belt you want. And again, you can just replace them in place like this, and it's so nice to be able to do that. But I am short of those reinforced iron plate. So the next thing we've got to do, now that we've got the plate building, the iron building, the plate building, the rods building, and then the screws building, is we're going to need to do reinforced iron, sure, certainly, but also copper. So I'm not going to show you the construction of those on camera. It tends to be a bit boring. Once you've seen one being constructed, you've seen them all, really. What I do quite like the idea of, however, is that down here we might have some kind of highway going on, in that out to the coal plant all the way over there we have 1 lane so far, but I could put another couple of lanes of foundation in and have that as a, well, once we have vehicles, we have a long run down there, maybe with street lights either side, something along those kind of lines. Do quite like the idea of that. And then looking pretty good. So yeah, if you've got any questions about the actual buildings or anything like that, or spotted any immediate flaws, feel free to. But what I would also like is some nice way through the floor. I am going to need to buy those better foundations, I think, just to make it look nicer. But anyway, everything's looking pretty good. And in order that I get all the ingredients I need, I'm going to want to get to advanced steel production, not necessarily for the steel right now, although the encased beams are going to be very useful. Let's go away for the voiceover. Mainly because in there is the miner Mark IIs. There we go. So you need the encased. Oh, we are going to need encased beams. That's about right. Okay. Can I put in another assembler? No. Let me just check this one for recipes then. Is there anything in here? Yeah, I'm going to need, yes, encased industrial beams. So I'm going to need steel and I'm going to need concrete for that. That's perfectly fine because we have both of them going. I changed this thing for pipe over here to be steel, and the concrete is coming in over at the back over there somewhere. So we still do have both of those. So I'm going to be able to get a few industrial beam or encased beams. Not too many just yet, but enough to get us going. I think that's pretty much a good point to actually leave it for today's episode. There's been an awful lot of building off camera, and obviously I don't want to do that on camera. It's kind of boring. I'm going to have to create more up there for steel buildings, heading that way. And then heading that way, I'm going to have some copper buildings. And then over here is where we're going to start thinking about advanced products as we head out into the desert. As it is nighttime. So hopefully you'll join me for that in the next episode, and hopefully you've enjoyed today's. If you have any suggestions, you can put them down below. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. It does help the algorithm quite a bit. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for some more Satisfactory.